You know what has more wings than Buffalo Wild Wings? Our videos. We just kind of wing them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Today we're talking about shit we were obsessed with as teenagers. Let's hit that music.
Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Everything goes in the house and out from
I'll tell you what I wasn't obsessed with. That fucking song.
Oh yeah.
I wish
getting old quick, isn't it?
we need to hire old Mickey B to do another one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's kind of not talking to me at the moment. Well, he's kind of trying to talk to me again. I'm just kind of like, come on, dude, stop being a dick. But anyway, whatever. We'll see where it goes, and next thing you know, I'll commission another one, and it'll be just as shitty.
Oh yeah.
But we're not talking about shitty stuff. Well, actually, we probably might.
Oh yeah, big time.
We're talking about the shit we were obsessed with as teenagers. You know, as teens, you're discovering your roots. You're trying to find out where you stand.
Sometimes literally discovering your roots.
Well, that's a whole nother video that we already made. But anyway, yeah, man. So usually the things you like as a teenager, you know, they come and go. So either we haven't grown a lot, or we just kind of stuck with the shit we liked.
I definitely didn't grow.
A lot of the stuff that I liked as a teenager, I still like now. But we're going to talk about the ones that maybe we don't like anymore. Or conversely, the ones that we're just not they're not at the forefront of our minds anymore. But they definitely were back then. One for me, dude. And I started this fucking young. It was 93, I remember.
When I was born.
Yeah, man. It was 93, and I started...
The day the coolest stooge died. The
year. Great. So the stooge died, but another stooge took over television, shit. And that's Conan O'Brien, man. I started watching late night TV as a 10-year-old.
You're an OG.
I don't know why the fuck, but it was the first time I came across Conan O'Brien, and I was fucking... I wouldn't miss a damn... I would be... like insanely fucking sleepy at school just because I wanted to watch Conan every night. And I didn't stop watching Conan actively until, you know, like the early 2000s, like around 2000, I don't know, 5 or 4 or some shit like that. Then it became kind of like whenever I could.
Yeah, because of work and all that shit. Yeah,
because of work and all that shit. But up to that fucking point, man, I could not miss Conan. You know, and if I worked, I would record it and I'd watch it. And I used to have like tapes upon tapes of just Conan, man. I loved Conan. I still love Conan, don't get me wrong. But back then, I was obsessed with fucking Conan, man. And I think a lot of the humor, stylings, and just his taste stuck to me. And consequently to you, I think. Because I know you like Conan too. But, you know, it was just one of those things that I must see Conan. I must suffer through Jay Leno to see Conan.
So you were Team Leno when all that happened?
Fuck Team fucking Leno, man.
Team Coco?
Yeah, Team Coco right here, man. I was going to get a Team Coco tattoo.
Yeah, that would have been good.
But, you know, I'm kind of glad I didn't because that time has passed.
Yeah.
It was definitely of the moment. You know, I'm definitely Team Coco, but it was a thing for that moment.
Yeah.
But
I'll get a Conan tat.
Maybe not the Team Coco part, but just the Conan face.
Yeah.
I'd still get that. Coco's my boy.
I always liked the little cartoon.
Yeah, that's the one, man. Anyway, that's one of mine, man. Hit me with one of yours.
Conan.
Besides Conan.
Oh, damn it. Okay, I got one similar to Conan. I mean, Conan we shared, but I had a weird obsession, despite never really loving him, with watching Kimmel.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, man.
Remember that shit? It was weird, right?
You would always kind of proselytize on the merits of Kimmel to me.
Yeah, and I would always like leave and watch Kimmel and shit.
That's right.
It was always like in my own room too. Like it wasn't something I shared with anyone.
Maybe it was like, this is my thing type of...
I guess. But it was one of those things where like, I still think he's funny, dude. But it's kind of like anti-show, you know? Mm-hmm. Like he's clearly putting up a face. But when he doesn't, that's when I like it.
Yeah.
And it's not that anymore.
Yeah.
It's very... I liked it in the beginning. Like I was literally when it started. That's around the time I would watch Kimmel religiously. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't really know why. It's not really my kind of humor. I mean, I find him funny, but it's not a show that I would go back and watch. You know, it's weird, weird obsession with Kimmel.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember you espousing the wisdom of Kimmel.
Yeah.
But then refusing to share him.
Yeah, I do
Not
remember
that I was interested.
One of the big moments that I remember was a selling point. You must have thought I was a moron. was one time some basketball jerk was there. I don't know the basketballs. Some basketball jerk was there, and he flipped the bird, and I was like, oh shit, it wasn't edited, because I guess it was live, and that was my thing. Like, dude, you gotta see it. This dude flipped the bird, and it wasn't blurred.
That's how lame we were as kids.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah, it was back then. Now it's like everybody's flipping the bird and shit.
Oh yeah.
Another big thing for me as a kid is Larry Bird. No, thankfully not. Was, believe it or not, country music, man. I was super into country music for a long time. I kind of dropped it around 95. I still listen to it, don't get me wrong. But around 95 was a big turning point for me. So it's going to be kind of a double whammy. Country music was really big for me, and everything from the oldsters like Cash to, Garth Brooks, which was the hugest thing at the time.
Yeah.
I just liked all that.
He likes that.
To the point where I would go to concerts. I'd even have my little cowboy gear and shit. Little buckle and shit.
Oh, dude, that was... Okay, remind me of that.
I had boots.
Yeah, remind me.
I had a duster.
Yeah.
I was into country, man. But
you did this.
Yeah, I did a little scooting around.
Boot scoot boogie?
Yeah, I did a little boot scoot boogie. I was into country, man, but country betrayed me because it turned to fucking shit.
Oh, yeah.
And 95 was a huge year because that was the first year I heard Rammstein. And I had to have it, man. And, I don't even know where this fucking guy got the damn CD, because if I recall, the first CD wasn't internationally distributed at first. So, but anyway, I got fucking Herzlite, and that was it. That began my metal phase, and I became obsessed not with metal. I became obsessed with German music.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
I was huge into it. I still love it. Don't get me wrong, but I was huge.
Yeah, but you were like deep into the Germans.
Yeah, I had
just like the Germans in general.
Rammstein, Megahertz, Umf, Tanzwut, and Extremo. All that shit. I would and I would import the CDs and shit, which wasn't fucking. It was very expensive to import that shit back then. It's still expensive now. Back then it was expensive, man. What are they called?
The
Das Testament and Das Finsternis. Oh shit, I forgot their fucking name. Oh, anyway, whatever. Fucking import these CDs for like $34 a pop, even more sometimes. Yeah, man, I was really fucking huge into German music for some fucking reason. I tell you, the moment it kind of died, I listened to this band called Das Ich. And that was the moment I was like...
I can't wait till Michael Keller completely destroys your German, by the way.
Yeah, and he will.
Let him have it.
But yeah, when I listened to Das Ich, I was like, that's Ich for me. I'm done.
Shit!
But no, I just stuck to the ones that I already liked, and I haven't really gone farther into it. I still like a lot of European music. I like Teresa's came after that and all that stuff. I still like that stuff. It's just I expanded beyond it. But for a second there, I was like, might as well fucking put some jackboots and a brown shirt on me. For some reason, I was just listening to pure fucking German music.
Yeah, that was weird. You had a collection of Mein Kampf. It was not great. I
fucking marched around the square.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's another one of yours, man?
Mein Kampf. I think it's a literary masterpiece.
Hashtag that.
Yeah. Mein Kampf is a literary masterpiece.
Just a reminder, we're Mexican and we're joking.
Yep.
Because... God forbid we should make a Nazi joke.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently it's not a thing anymore.
It's Nazi, I think. Anyway, The Tick. A lot of mine you're going to find I still have.
Yeah.
So The Tick was a big one. It was, I think, the first comic I read fully. As in, like, I won't really call it a graphic novel, but a run, I guess, that I read, and you let me read that. That was a big one. Big point in my name, even. Batman is a big one, of course. It's always been there. It's somehow resurfaced with a vengeance this year, which is kind of weird. Once again, remember, I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned that when I would go to sleep, God damn, this is gay. I would cursive his name.
Batman's name? Or Bruce Wayne, because that would be gayer.
No, it was Batman v Superman. Yeah, that's returned. So I think it's time. It completely died when I rewatched the movie. It's back, so I think it's time to watch it again. Also, God damn, this is gay and cringe. The first thing that comes to my head when I wake up is Oh! It's Batman vs Superman. But not just Batman vs Superman. I go through all of the Justice League.
Oh man, that is gay, dude.
It's super
But not in the
gay.
cool Angelo way. It's just fucking
It's not
gay.
cool. I'm telling you, I think I have to watch the movie again. It's one of those where like I get the Jones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point. When I was obviously I love horror movies. I love movies in general, but horror was always a big thing for me. And as far as I can tell, I started liking horror very young. My mom tells me I don't even know why. What? Because we grew up in a very religious home, and she's like, I don't even know what the hell made you like horror, But I remember one of the first things I ever saw being horror, that I vividly remember. But as a result, horror was big for me. But I was a kid, I was a teenager. I got a job when I was 17, but it's still limited funds and stuff like that. So buying an actual movie for myself was a big fucking deal. So as a result, because of limited funds, you kind of rewatch the same movie a lot. And for me, it was several movies that I was very obsessed with. Conan the Barbarian is, as you know, one of those that I was hugely obsessed with.
Yep.
Beetlejuice was another one.
Yeah.
Must have worn out 3 tapes of those.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but I share Beetlejuice with you.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a big one in our family period.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones' Temple of Doom was another big one. Terminator, at one point I could recite every fucking line in it. Those were 4 big ones that I would watch criminal amount of times. But in terms of horror, which was more for myself because I couldn't share that with the family as much, Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 were fucking huge rewatchers. Dawn of the Dead, I still remember the 2 VHS collection.
I think the movie I've seen the most is Evil Dead 2. And it's not even the regular version, it's the commentary version. Because it became one of those weird comfort movies.
Yeah.
With the commentary. So I would just put it on in the background.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that I liked the feeling of it so much that I tried to hear other movies with commentary, and not a lot of them succeeded. Like I tried to watch They Live, and it was like, yep, I'm never doing that again. So I would always go back to Evil Dead 2, so I get that.
Yeah. There's just some movies that provided infinite comfort.
Yeah.
And when you're a teenager, you just rewatch a lot of shit for some reason.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way,
Yeah.
And those were some of the big ones for me. Candyman was another one, man. I think I bought like 3 tapes of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I had the DVD that I didn't replace it, Tapes. Fuck tapes, man.
A similar thing for me was DVDs, but with freaking King of the Hill season 1. It's the only one I had.
Ball.
So that was one of those that I would rewatch over and over. So now if I were to start the series, I would have to skip season 1 because it's one of those where it's like, oh man, I'd overwatch that.
On a side note, King of the Hill started when I was a teenager in the late 90s, and I loved it. It's one of our favorite shows. And it is the only show to date that I have ever signed the petitions for to stay alive.
Yeah, that's weird.
Actively, man. When it was always under the axe.
Yeah, it was always on the edge.
I would fucking be like on those shits. Like, man, we gotta fucking keep this on the air. That was the only time. So,
that was one of those shows too. Like not only the DVD, but before I even had a DVD player, it was on after Kimmel, which is the only reason I would watch Kimmel for a while. Because I had a love affair with Kimmel, as I've previously stated. But after I fell out of love with Kimmel, I would still sit through it because King of the Hill was after. And I was always like,
oh, Bobby, Bobby boy, you better bend over, boy.
Same thing with The Simpsons, but my specific one was the Spanish Simpsons. This was a weird ritual. Like I would watch the Spanish Simpsons, which was an hour at 7 on Channel 20. And then do nothing, basically sit and make my brain die until 10 when it would come out in English on Fox. So that was like, 3 hours of wasting time just to watch another Simpsons episode.
Sounds productive to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of wasting time, I spent many a moment, speaking of shows also, more speaking of shows and wasting time, although they go hand in hand. The X-Files, of course, was one of my big obsessions. How much so? I missed work for the X-Files various times.
Damn it.
I would always have Sunday off. I didn't care about the other day off. I usually have 2 days off. But when I got hired, the first thing was like, fuck, I'm gonna miss the X-Files, and they come out on Sunday at the time, and I was like, fucking shit, man. And at first I could record it, but then my recording device just went fuck out the window, you know, and I was like, damn it. So I made a deal, a pact with the fucking
the devil,
with the devil himself. No, with well, yeah, this guy kind of sucks. So yeah, the manager, I said, dude, you gotta give me Sundays off. I don't care what other time you make me work, you know. And I was a good worker, so he was like, fine, I'll give you Sundays off. But he was one of those dudes that every now and then would just backtrack on shit. And every now and then he'd pull a little, I need you here on Sunday. I'd be like, bitch. I said, and I would always find a way. Like, I'll come, but I'm leaving at 8. I'll come in the morning all the way to 8, but I'm leaving at 8. And he'd be like, fine. And one day he pissed me the fuck off, dude. He was like, nope, I need you to stay till fucking closing. And that usually meant 11, 12. And I was like, I'm leaving at 8. And I fucking set my fucking foot in the ground and I said, I'm leaving at 8. And I left. And shockingly, I didn't get fired. Anyway, I also didn't go to my graduation, or didn't want to go to my graduation, because it conflicted with an X-Files time change. I ended up going because my vice principal made a big stink about it, whatever.
You're like, God damn it, woman.
I hadn't even. It was, dude. He hadn't
God
even.
damn it, man.
He hadn't even. He had a rotten nose too, by the way.
But a rotten nose.
He even bought me a smock because I didn't buy anything. I just wanted my fucking diploma.
You just bought another Scully.
Yeah, I didn't buy that shit, but he bought it, so I went, and I was like, damn it, I'm missing the X-Files. And I was giving the speech,
You opened with, I could be watching the X-Files.
what is it was the fucking, some sort of prayer they anyway, I was giving that fucking shit. So I didn't even want to go, fucking X-Files. So that's the thing I fucking did.
I got one.
Mm-hmm.
Swing music.
Oh, yeah. I think that was a thing across America for a while.
Yeah, but mine was like 10 years after the fact.
Yeah.
It had no reason.
And that's kind of my fault, because I brought that to your attention, I believe.
Yeah, and it was one of those like dormant things. Like I used to like The Mask a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a one that died. But I used to like The Mask a lot, and then so when you brought up that music, I was like, oh shit, that's the music that I used to listen to.
And in general, retro music has always kind of interested both of us.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that was a thing. Definitely a thing for me. That's another one where I bought CDs that were super hard and rare and hard to find. Like the Atomic Fireball CD, that cost a pretty penny. You know, shit like that. They were just hard to find, and I would pay big bucks for it because I loved it. I still love swing music as well.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's dead.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Big Bad Voodoo Daddy tries to keep it alive, but all they do is make it more boring.
Oh man, they're really kind of
I really like I liked their first album.
First album was okay, but that's
after
about
that.
it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, the final one for me is comics. I was huge into comics as a teenager.
And trading cards.
But that is one, and trading cards, and that is definitely one that died at that time. I still read comics, but I don't like to collect issue by issue.
You just buy freaking Archie.
That's the only comic I collect issue by issue, and that's only a recent thing because of the new Archie. The old Archie shit, I would just buy digest because they're disposable bathroom shit.
Like, yeah, see?
They're really awful, but the new one I read. But
toilet paper.
Back in the day, I was all into fucking comics, man. DC, Marvel. Biggest one was Vertigo. I used to love Vertigo. I should be more specific. I used to love Hellblazer, really, and that was my fucking jam right there.
You had all those holographic X-Men that you try to sell for $300 on Craigslist.
Oh man, that fucking guy. That's a whole nother story. I didn't do that, by the way. I'm not an idiot. But anyway, the point is, comics were a fucking huge deal for me. When the comic superhero movie thing came out, Blade and X-Men, I was like, this is fucking, I was like, oh, this is it. We have reached the pinnacle of cinema.
Look, I've never shared this with you, but this is one of my memories that is emblazoned in my mind. After you came home from X-Men, so I must have been 6, you were like freaking pumped, dude. You were like, whoa! And I was like, what is this? Anyway, I remember me going like, having an entire hour of going like, is it better than this? And I was bringing up like, it's better than Beetlejuice and all these like classics. And you're like, dude, freaking best movie ever. Like,
Dude, yeah.
was
That's
weird.
how hard I was into fucking comics.
and now you're like, ooh, X-Men.
That, yeah,
Ooh,
it's
Bryan
X-Men.
Singer diddling.
X-Men 1 did not date well. It's still a good movie. It just did not date well.
You're not gonna berserker on me.
And it definitely wasn't better than any of those movies you mentioned. I
No.
was just that fucking excited
Pumped.
to see something that I had loved for so long come to life. You know what I'm saying? You know, possibly what people feel now with the X-Men, I mean, with the Avengers movies and shit like that. Only most of them have never even read a fucking
Yeah.
comic. But the point is, I did read those comics, and then just seeing it come to life was like, it fucking knocked my socks off, man. I was like,
remember
holy
that
shit!
you're like, oh, oh.
So yeah, I was a fool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still
That
love
being said, I
comics.
do remember you even back then shitting on Toad and Storm.
Oh
So,
yeah. Storm's one of my favorite characters. This is just a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
Although Rogue made up for it because one, it was Anna Paquin who I had a crush on. Two, it was Rogue, but it was really just Jubilee.
Yeah.
So I was like, hell, you got me covered on all three bases. Now let me slide into home. By that I mean stroke my dingling.
Yep.
Anyway,
Bryan Singer's here. Why?
you got any final ones?
Bryan Singer. Stroke my ding to him. And just like all the various cartoons I used to watch, had a big thing for Cow and Chicken, which I recently found out the cousin of the creator, the creator's cousin created the Max, which is a weird ass comic. So that's interesting. So yeah, just like various cartoons that I used to watch as a kid, which weirdly enough is now the things that everybody's like, oh yeah, my childhood's blah, blah, blah. Freaking Count Chickens was cool when I was a kid. I actually used to watch those in Spanish though. So
Well,
there
wouldn't
you
they
go.
be saying that because they watch them?
Yeah, but they didn't watch them in Spanish. I got the pure. I got the pure.
Why does that make it pure?
Because I liked the shows despite the terrible dubbing. That's how much I
That
like
just
the
means
show.
you had really low standards.
Look, dickhead, I'm trying to put myself above these people. All right.
Anyway, we're clearly not above anyone.
Nope.
Tell us what some of your teenage obsessions were. Hit like, share, subscribe, those notification
Penis.
buttons. And, gonna stroke our little dinglings now.
Yep.
We're out.
Farting each other's faces.
This music, stupid sounds, all kinds of shit for you. Anything goes inside the night, don't cup of corpulent juice. Movies, music, stupid sounds, all kinds of shit for you.